Brokeback Mountain takes the quintessential American icon of the cowboy and flips it, face down into the pillar. The strong and silent hero of literature and cinema becomes a figure of repressed desire and pain sensitivity. Heath Ledger's Ennis Del Rey is so restrained, suppressing emotion, that words can barely escape his tightly drawn face.
I don't know what to say.
Eastwood's testosterone-brimming Squint is subverted by Ennis, as it seems to be holding back so much more.
Why don't you just let me be, huh?
With a name that is almost phallic, he is the model alpha male of the film. The first high-altitude fuck sees Ennis as the top, and dominant at that. However, his next drunken teary tent visit, we see him wanting to be cradled, trying out the yang. Evidently there is balance in this newfound relationship. The shifting dynamic of these cowboys as they discover and attempt to reconcile their forbidden love is shown as beautiful yet tragic, poetically reinforced through symbolism, much of which is found in nature. Jake Gyllenhaal's Jack Twist appears to take a beta role in the relationship, coming across boyish, especially in comparison to the uber-staunch manliness of Pennis, or even effeminate in his adoption of certain gendered traits.
See you for supper.
The love affair begins when Jack complains of the sleeping situation, out in the field with the sheep, preferring instead the camp, where he is able to cook for the both of them, mostly beans, which they tire of quickly.
Too early in the summer to be sick of beans.
Ennis is bringing back supplies on his horse when he encounters a bear, a fitting representation of overpowering primal urges. This costs the two cowboys greatly. Jack tries his hand at hunting for the both of them, but fails. It is Ennis who eventually steps in and kills a bull elk to provide for the both of them.
Woo-wee! Yeah!
Getting tired of your dumbass missing.
Jack's beta position is paralleled in his relationship with his wife. From a successful family, it is her father who takes the alpha role, seen initially at the birth of their child, when he sends Jack away like service staff.
Rodeo can get him.
But coming to a head at Thanksgiving. This showdown of masculinity occurs when Grandpa takes the role of cutting the turkey.
Oh, there, Rodeo. Stud duck do the carving around here.
Ruffling Jack's feathers and his newly acquired moustache.
You sit down, you old son of a bitch!
He eventually stands and defends himself, threatening him to the point that he sits and is served. Jack carves the turkey, winning this battle and earning a sly little grin from his wife. Meanwhile, Penis is having Thanksgiving dinner with his ex-wife and her new husband. Failing to be knocked off of his alpha spot, this is cleverly avoided by having the rounder, less threatening man of the house use an electric carving knife. Hardly threatening and a beautifully symbolic prop. Another typical representation of masculinity is through automobiles. Ennis is linked from the moment we meet him with large trucks, powerful and stable, where Jack's car has rusted and is liable to break down, the facade of his heteroperformative manliness falling apart. The chaps talk about religion in passing, perhaps as a way to introduce that they're not strictly religious and don't base their morality on the homo-averse printed word of the Lord.
You may be a sinner, but I ain't yet had the opportunity.
He soon will. In their quest for work, these lads take on the spiritually significant role of shepherds. That is, until the fateful night with the whiskey and the fighting and the making up. Ennis returns to the camp where he was supposed to be staying in order to scare off the wolf, the perfect symbolic embodiment of the shadow self, of latent and unexpressed homosexual desire. He returns to find a sheep has been killed, ripped open and eaten, the sacrificial lamb of his sin. This doesn't stop his pursuit, but becomes a signpost of his guilt and shame. When the boys return from Brokeback
Forgetting something?
to families of their own, they meet back up under the guise of fishing trips, cleverly repurposing the Christian symbol of the fish that would serve as a coded message for followers to have secret gatherings under Roman rule. Just as the bear, the sheep and the fish, there is an abundance of animal imagery in Brokeback Mountain that I think carries symbolic weight in this story of love that must remain secret and unspoken. Jack prides himself on being able to control wild horses. In classic Freudian analysis, horses are said to represent sexual desire. He assures,
Out there's a filly that can throw me.
a filly being a female horse. This could be a playful allusion to his inability to fall for a woman,
What are you waiting for, Cowboy? A mating call?
or indeed to calm his desire for Ennis. To make money outside of Brokeback, Jack is a rodeo cowboy, symbolically wrestling with this untenable desire in the form of a bucking bull. Unable to tame the beast within, this forebodes his eventual murder. On the other side, Ennis's denial and ultimate repression of his feelings is perfectly represented in his trade.
Earlier today I was castrating cows.
The image that closes the film is of the bloodied shirts of Jack and Ennis. Ennis visits Jack's family home after hearing of his passing, and finds in his wardrobe a secret compartment nesting the shirts from their first night of passion at Brokeback, significantly carrying Ennis's shirt inside his own. When Ennis takes this memento to his mobile home, he reverses the order, placing Jack's shirt within his. He keeps the shirts in the closet, but gives them time to breathe, opening the door to this side of his personality. And through this act of remembrance and acceptance, is softened very slightly, not having to keep up the show of hyper-masculinity that has him being a shit dad.